Hello, Art on Twist, and thank God I get to do part two of this Raw Recap and Review from July 6th of 2026, coming from Chicago, Illinois. And we left off on part one with Sol Ruka retaining her championship, but now we're leading on to Paul Heyman, the advocate of Brock Lesnar, talking on his behalf. Saying how he doesn't like how Oba walks around the place like he owns it, and that's why Brock Lesnar has came back, humbled him a little bit, and he mentioned how that low blow he gave him is nothing compared to the pain he's going to get at Hell in a Cell and SummerSlam. He mentions how Oba Femi has motivated Brock to be the beast that he is, and he says that Brock will destroy him. Flips the mic off. He said, "I'm done with him. I'm done." But Oba, 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 pop out. And he says, Paul, you love to talk so much. So let me pop out here. I wanted to come out here and give you a little face to talk to. So why don't you talk to me directly? And at least the Heyman said, you know what, Oba, I got to give you your props. At WrestleMania, you proved that Brock Lesnar is beatable. But then in Clash of Italy, he proved that Oba Femi is beatable. So now, when it comes to SummerSlam, you guys are fighting to see who is the truly unbeatable one. He says, Oba, you're stepping in the cell with Brock Lesnar, a UFC champion, and a man that beat the creator of Hell in a Cell, The Undertaker, twice. He says something funny. He said he is calling the Hell in a Cell the Broctagon. And he says that only one man at SummerSlam will leave as unbeatable. That leads to Oba then going, the things that he was saying showed that Brock Lesnar actually does watch the product, and that the words he was saying got under his skin. That leads him to saying that, Paul Heyman, the only reason you're out here is because you're just a mouth. You're not an advocate for Brock Lesnar anymore. You're just a person that comes out here and does damage control. And he even goes to say that, Paul, yourself, you are scared. You are scared that I'm going to be knocking out your meal ticket. And Oba says, I can't wait to at SummerSlam in Minneapolis, Minnesota, in Brock Lesnar's hometown, where he going to beat him in front of his family, his friends, his wife, his kids, his everything. And he realized, with that, you have to walk through hell in order to get to heaven. And he said, hey, tell your client, I'm ready to walk through hell. I can't wait for this match. It better be some blood, I know that. It better be some fruit juice all over the ring. They gon' whoop each other crazy, man, and I can't wait. And then we get a backstage segment after that, and we get some news going on with the World WWE Championship match tonight. And Sami Zayn is getting interviewed by Jackie Redmond. He taping up. He getting ready for the match. And she tells him that Cody Rhodes cannot compete tonight. He didn't get cleared. And he's like, man, that's terrible. But he's smiling ear to ear. He's so happy he don't got to fight. He's like, man, you see, I feel bad for Sammy. I don't want to. I have no ill will against him. I don't want to get hurt. He said, but I think it was kind of cursed that I'm defending this belt on Monday Night Raw. I'm a SmackDown guy and I'm defending the belt here. Like, I think we should just put it on hold. We'll wait to SmackDown on Friday and we'll figure out from there. And Adam Pearce says, hold on, Sammy. I promised these people in Chicago a championship match. So you gonna compete tonight for that belt. And he like, come on. But now we get into our third match of the night. We get Chad Gable with Dragon Lee versus All Ego Ethan Page with Rusev. And Ethan Page and Rusev are the last ones to get into the ring. And as soon as they get in the ring, they attack their competitors right before the bell, whooping on them back and forth. At least the Rusev and Lee being the ones official in the match, and he's hitting multiple strikes on him. He ends up tagging in Ethan Page to get into the ring, and he starts stumping on him in the corner, and leads to a back and forth fight between Dragon Lee and Ethan Page. But it ends up with a big boot by Ethan Page. He tags back in Rusev. He holds that man Dragon Lee for a big punch to the ribs. Then Dragon Lee gets cooked with a suplex and another suplex by Rusev. And that leads to Rusev then trying to Irish whip Dragon Lee to his corner again, but Dragon Lee does a big kick. It's a big kick to Page, gets away, ends up tagging it Chad Gable. Chad Gable walks in, a head full of steam, hit that man with a big German. Finna go for the third German on Rusev, but Rusev fights out of it. Then he gets hit with a big belly to belly throw suplex. Ethan Page gets into the ring. Then he gets caught up with a big throw suplex right on there. After he does that suplex on Ethan Page, Rusev tries to go for the Machka kick on Gable, but he ends up catching his leg, flipping that man down, turning into a big ankle lock. Ethan Page stops it, tries to run towards Gable, but he just drops down, hitting him with a big back body drop on the Ethan. That leads to Ethan being in the corner, and then Dragon Lee, it gets thrown by Chad Gable right into him with a big kick. Then Dragon Lee's finna do a running knee down to him, but Rusev grabs him and gets Ethan Page out the ring. They're now conversing on the outside. But that leads to then Chad Gable grabbing Dragon Lee and then doing a throw suplex over the top rope into Ethan Page and Rusev. That was a fire thing to see. And that leads on to the commercial break. We get back from the commercial break with Rusev now having an advantage on Chad Gable, picking him up, hitting him with multiple clotheslines. And then Irish whipping him into the corner, his own corner. But Chad Gable fights off Ethan Page. They're fighting back and forth. But Rusev stops him. And then Chad Gable fights off of it, tries to go to another tag, but Rusev catches him this time, but Gable finds a way to flip that into a big DDT, and you know what that means. It's time for the hot tag. Dragon Lee hits a big boot on the Ethan Page, and then hits him with the kick in the corner by jumping over the apron, and he jumps back over the apron with a big drop kick to him seated down there. Then he grabs that man, hits him with a big tornado DDT. Then he sets him in the tree of woe position, and he jumps up, does the corner stump. I love that move. It needs to be a finisher for real. 1, 2, but Rusev stops the pin. That leads to Chad Gable getting into the ring, picking him up, hitting him with a big ankle slam on the Ethan Page. But Rusev out of nowhere, it's a big mach kick on the Chad Gable. Then they're fighting back and forth with Dragon Lee, and then finishes off by hitting Dragon Lee with a big Machka kick, grabbing that man, putting him in that accolade. He's wrenching on it. Dragon Lee gotta let it go. He tapping out. So that's a big win for Rusev and Ethan Page. The heels are looking strong. I give that match a 4-star match. Good back and forth, entertaining thing, and it was a win that I was surprised about. But after the match, though, Rusev is still wrenching on the accolade of Dragon Lee. That leads to Chad Gable intervening, grabbing that man, trying to hit him with a big German suplex, but Ethan Page runs in, knocks him down. That leads to then the accolade getting applied on the Chad Gable. He wrenching on that mug, but say his name and he appears. Joe and Hendry pop out. He whooping on the boys, hitting them with fall-away slams back and forth. And he tried to hit the standing ovation on the Ethan Page, but Rusev helps him, saves the day, knocks Joe Hendry down, and then hits that man. That leads to Ethan Page grabbing that man, hitting him with a big, like, perfect plex suplex. And then that man, Rusev, kicks him in the back and applies in that accolade once again on another man. Then let's Rusev applying the accolade on Joe Hendry. So the heels looking tall before the Intercontinental title gauntlet. So I wonder who's gonna win that thing. Before we get to the main event of the evening, we have another Bloodline segment going on. We have Jimmy Uso seen leaving the arena, and Jackie Redmond's trying to interview him, saying, you know, what was earlier in the night, you know, he's like, Jimmy was like, you know, he tired of LA talking about the family and that he needs to like step up for the Bloodline. So he finna go to SmackDown. He finna mess up Solo. And then he showed LA Knight what we not to play with. At least the LA popping out the door, trying to follow him too, trying to get into a confrontation. Jackie instantly get the ducking, but Big Fatu, Jacob Fatu knocks that man down, slams him to the wall, tells that man Jimmy Whammy out, man. So LA, he's getting cooked, man. Either he gonna win this year, he ain't never winning. I ain't gonna lie, man. I feel bad for Brown. But I hope Jimmy can get a solo belt. That'd be nice. But now we are on to the main event of the evening. And before the main event, Adam Pearce been trying to get calls in, trying to get somebody to fight him. And Nick Aldis says, hey, man, I just saved your butt. Because I just got a call in. and he's here. He's already in the building. So Sami Zayn, the WWE champion, does his entrance. This is his first time defending the belt, and it's his ninth day as champion, by the way. So he's a new champion. He popping out. He's happy with the crowd, and he's running. He's walking around with the belt, and we're waiting to see who is going to be. Now, mind you guys, we are in Chicago, Illinois. So you know what that means. Look in my eyes. What do you see? CM Punk. They open up the gate. CM Punk in his drawers ready. I like the idea that CM Punk walked all the way from home, all the way to arena in his ring gear, just draws on. Hilarious. But CM Punk is popping out, and he's the surprise guest. It's official. Sami Zayn versus CM Punk, and Sami Zayn got wild before the match. He pushing that man in the mouth for the bell ring. He said, "Oh, Sami tweaking. He going crazy." And that leads into the match. And also, funny thing about this, CM Punk has brought back the hairy chest. He hasn't had the hairy chest since he was a heel, and it's funny because he's old now, and it has like gray hairs popping out of it. Hilarious. But this match starts off with a big tie-up between the men, which leads to an Irish whip, finishing off with a big shoulder tackle by CM Punk. They get back up again. They go for a tie-up again, but then go to the corner this time, and they do the little ref separation. Sami hits him with a big chop to the chest, y'all. He ain't going nowhere. They tie up once again, and they get into the corner again, but this time Punk don't let the ref intervene. Boom, drops down, chop to the chest, grab that man, snapmare down to the ground, chop that man in the back, and pick him up, though. But Sami instantly gets up out of that, grab that man, shoulder tag him to the corner multiple times, slam, go to the top rope of him, punches, going for the 10 Jones. But Punk gets him off of him, but Punk grabs him, drops him down with an atomic drop right to the Sammys, hurting the Zanes. And then he gets him to the corner and then lands the 10 punches back and forth. But then Sami drops down to that and then punches him in the rib, knocking him over the rope. And then as he's on the apron, he grabs his head and drops it down on the rope. Leads the Punk onto the outside. Sami's finna get hyped. He's finna go for the tope on Hilo. But CM Punk grabs his leg before he can run off, pulls him inside the ring, grabs his head, slams it on the apron. And then he gets into the ring and says, "You know what? Let me get freaky with it." Big suicide dive by CM Punk. And that's how we get to the commercial break. But we get back from the commercial break with Sami Zayn having the advantage. He has Punk on his knees. He and that man with big punches back and forth, elbows to the top of the head. He on the ground. Now he's stumping a mud hole on that man. Then he hits that man with a big holds his head, hits him with a big running knee right there. And then grabs him up, throws him into the corner head first, slamming him down. Then he goes to the middle rope, jumping off with a big axe handle. Goes for the pin there. 1, 2. Kick out from Punk. He not trying to lose at home. It's the Sami instantly going down, dropping the head down for the rest hold, choke hold. But CM Punk fights out of it, instantly picks him up, tries to go for the GTS, but that gets reversed. Punk find a way to hit a big clothesline on him. Then clotheslines back and forth on the Sami Zayn, picks him up, Irish whips him, hits him with that signature heel kick he always does, and he throws him into the corner. Tries to go for the knee right there. You know what's finna come next. Try to go for the bulldog, but that gets reversed by Sami. Sami tries to turn that into a move, but Punk reverses that into a big spinning neck breaker. Also vintage Punk, by the way. 1, 2. Kick out from the champ, Sami. At least Punk trying to get it over with again. He tries to pick him up for the GTS, but that gets reversed to the Blue Thunder. But the Blue Thunder gets reversed by CM Punk, grabbing him into a big hammerlock, right into a big clothesline right there. 1, 2. Kick out from Sami, though. He not going. At least Punk trying to go to the top rope to hit the Macho Man elbow drop, but Sami jumps up, punches him on top there. He climbs on top of it and then hits him with a big superplex right down on the ground, and that leads to a double down between both men. They're not moving. Leads on to a commercial break. We get back from the commercial break with both men on their knees into a boo, yeah, boo, yeah. They stand up, boo, yeah, punching back and forth to Punk hitting big knees onto him and then grabbing him, trying to hit him with a GTS, but that gets reversed to a Blue Thunder, which leads to another reversal by Punk by hitting him with a big roundhouse kick that leads to him going into the corner. He hits him with the big knee. He flexing for the people. He took too much time trying to go for that bulldog, but he gets reversed from that bulldog right into a blue thunder bomb. 1, 2, kick out from Punk though. They was cooking in this match. I ain't gonna lie. Then Sammy tried to get the signature move in. He tried to grab him and try to do an exploder onto the corner, but that gets reversed by Punk. He hits him with knees, and then he fits him in the corner. Hits him with the big knee right into the bulldog. He finally hit it. Goes to the top rope. Tries to go for the elbow drop. Wow, right there. 1, 2. Kick out from Sammy, but Punk said, "Come on, Anaconda Vice." He puts a submission in. Sammy looks like he's finna tap. But he fights with to lock his legs on the CM Punk's head, drops him down. But Punk said, I don't care. He gets up, grabs his leg, tries to go for the sharpshooter because you know he loved glazing Bret Hart. But Sammy's kicking, kicks him off of him. But Punk says, go for the GTS again. But that gets reversed by Sammy, and he does the drop down pin that he did on Cody Rhodes on him. 1, 2, but kick out from Punk this time. That leads him to go back from up again to the boo, yeah, boo, yeah. That leads to the GTS by Punk, but that GTS gets reversed by GTS by Sami Zayn. Bow, 1, 2, kick out from Punk. You gotta know me. You can't beat nobody with their own move, man. They don't do it no more. Only in the game you can do that. And Sammy's pissed, but Punk is in that corner. And you know what that means. He's trying to go for the haluva kick, but that gets reversed by Punk grabbing him and then hitting him with his own move, the exploder, into the corner. Which leads to him going to the other side, trying to go for his own version of haluva kick, but boom, that gets caught by Sammy again. Hits it with the GTS right into the blue thunder bomb. Oh yeah, Sammy got this dub. 1, 2, no he don't, because the second sitting Saint ain't going. Punk is not dying. And that pisses off Sammy. He wrap off the tape of it on his right hand. He said, "Hey Punk, you had a good run, but this is my belt." Slapping that man, punching that man. But Punk, he punched back. He fight back. He punch it back. He whipped that man into the rope. Hit that man with a big knee. He hits that man with a knee. He goes off and tries to go for a knee again, but this time Sammy tried to hold for a haluva kick, but that gets dodged by Punk. Punk say, "My turn." Haluva kick, picks him up for the GTS. 1, 2, 3. CM Punk is your new WWE champion. Oh my God, these men cooked. 5-star match. Classic. This is as good as what I thought if they would have had Cody in the match. So you don't lose anything in regard to this. So that's you love to see that. But CM Punk looked good in his return. You already know, if you seen earlier, he swole. If you seen on TikTok and everything, he swole. He in shape. It's funny he brought back the chest hair. It's funny to see, but Punk is now the champion, but it's looking like he won't have to move on to SmackDown because Roman is champ on Raw. But I will just say it is sad to see how they did Sammy, man. Sammy finally got the big one, and it's just not in his cards to have it for a long time. They trying to do that. I feel like they're gonna try to do Cody versus Punk at SummerSlam, and I guess they just thought Sammy ain't pushed the bill, man. So but hey, there's one thing you can't ever say is that Sammy never won the WWE Championship. Think of it as like, hey, think about it. Rey Mysterio was WWE Champion at least one time. It was only like an hour or so, but he was champ. But overall, I enjoyed the show, and I can't wait for next week as we're leading on to the way to the SummerSlam. But this is going to be the end of this video here. If you enjoyed part 2, please like the video and subscribe to the channel for more, because every week we do these videos. Every PLE we have in a video, and WWE 2K26 content on this channel as well. I'm Twist. Remember, y'all, Jesus loves you, and that to always keep God first. I'm out.